Good morning, everyone. Let us start our program with three mantra. Om Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Sauvasahunam, Eso Panchanamukaro, Samapavapanasano, Mangalanam cha Samvesim, Padmam Havai Mangalam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Jai Sachidanand. A very cordial welcome to Dr. Jagadish Kohli. Without taking too much time, I would like to invite our honorable facilitator to take the charge. Thank you, sir.
And our topic today is reflective learning transforms education. So there are only 4 words. Reflective learning is the main focus of this seminar. And the purpose is to transform education, because our education system currently, as it is run in all the countries of the world, is almost irrelevant for the modern times. So, and we have to reflect on this and think about creating a new learning system which can create a better living for everybody in the society. So there are a number of topics we want to cover today. What is the basic definition of reflection? What is the purpose of education? And take a comprehensive view of life, which is a holistic view and also changing view, because nothing in nature is stationary. Everything is moving and advancing and is very dynamic way of life. So we look at some of the things which are missing in our education system, which has totally become irrelevant and dysfunctional. And then we look at what is the purpose of reflective learning and how can we unlock our inner hidden wisdom, and what are the key elements of reflective learning, and what is the process of cultivating new reflective facilitators and reflective some practices, and then some concluding remarks. Reflective facilitators is the key word which is used in the presentation, and currently we call ourselves teachers, but teaching, there's nothing teaching happening. Everything is learning, and we are just facilitators. There are no gurus, there are no teachers. This is a very old word, teacher, which does not fit in the current environment. So you look at this picture and there's a mirror. We get up in the morning and we look into the mirror and we look at our image. And if the mirror is dirty, then the image also becomes dirty. A dirty mirror distorts our reality. So we cannot see our face clearly if the mirror is dirty. So our mind is just like a mirror, and a disturbed mind is like a dirty mirror. So our purpose is, through education, cleaning the mind, which reflects reality. So every one of us, mostly when we get up in the morning, we wash our face and look into the mirror and look at our face. Now, if the face is tense, the mirror cannot help it. If we are smiling, the mirror also will reflect a smiling surface. Now, normally we don't pay attention to this reflection. We can add something new to this reflection. When we look at our image in the mirror, we can offer our gratitude to the force or the energy or the source of life which created this image, which created this body. And this is called offering gratitude to the creator of life. If we follow this practice for about 40 days, it will strengthen our reflective practice and will make us a much better reflective facilitator. I think my screen is frozen somehow. Let me see what's going on. Okay. So we have another image here. We just trying to understand what reflection is. So we use this metaphor of a lake and the moon, and we look into the lake. When the lake is silent and there is no disturbance in the lake, we can see the clear image of the moon. Now, as I said, our mind is just like a reflecting surface. So in this case, we'll say our mind is like the surface of the water in the lake. Now, if you throw one stone in the lake, then the moon image will be distorted. We'll see maybe 2 or 3 images. If we throw 2 or 3 stones, then the image of the moon in the lake will be totally distorted and we'll have multiple images. This is the way our mind works. When our mind is stationary, is stable, is quiet, is silent, then we can see the clarity in whatever we are dealing with. But mostly our mind is, most of the time is disturbed because it has so many thoughts. Every thought is like throwing a stone in the lake of the mind. So when the mind is disturbed, it cannot see the clarity. So the purpose of reflection is to calm the mind. And if you look at the nature of the thoughts we have maybe 50, 60,000 thoughts every day. And 70-80% of those are junk thoughts, or those thoughts which are irrelevant, repetitive thoughts, and waste thoughts. The useful thoughts only is a small percentage, which may be 10% of the total thoughts. So that's why we cannot see life clearly, and we cannot see anything clearly. So there is total chaos in most of the minds living on the planet today. So the purpose of reflection is to calm the mind, to reduce the number of, and then see things clearly. And once we see things clearly, then our actions will be clear, our actions will be wholesome and complete. So if you look into the definition of education, basically we are familiar with the education process as is going on today in the schools, universities, campuses. This kind of education gives us only 10% fulfillment of life. The second part of education is to gain some kind of an enlightening experience. And with that experience, we gain 90% of life's fulfillment by arriving at and sustaining some enlightening experience. So the current education, the way it is delivered, our awareness of life is only 10%. And our darkness of life is 90%. So once society gets into trouble, they look for direction and go to scriptures or go to the saints. They are left directions for the confused humanity. So today we are at that stage. So we are going for guidance to the scriptures. And this is a prayer which is in one of the Upanishads, about a few thousand years old. And basically, it gives us a direction of life. What is the purpose of education and what is the purpose of our life? Oh Lord, take us from non-being to the true being. What is the non-being and what is true being? We are confused non-beings. And we are asking for that, please give us direction so that we can be true beings. True beings means that we are living in the field of duality. And we are praying, please take us to the field of non-duality. So this is the first prayer. And this could also be the vision for each one of the educators. The second part is take us from darkness to light. Now, most of my education was in Panjab University. And the university motto was from darkness to light. So this perhaps is the motto for many other universities and people. Because as we looked at the current education, we have only 10% light, 90% darkness. And we want to travel on this path where we can reduce the amount of darkness and slowly increase the illumination in our life. Once we are illuminated from inside, then we can spread the light all around. And that's what the educators can do today, illuminate their own inner self and then share that illumination with the students. The third part is take me from death to immortality. So we do not know the purpose of death, and we are asking for take us to the immortality, take us from death to life, the pure life, the ultimate life, take us from the current, the way of living life and death cycle, and free us from this life and death cycle, and take us to liberation, which is sometimes we also call moksha. And then in the final closing, the prayer says, Om, peace, peace, peace. Now, Om is a powerful mantra. Om is also the energy which was released when the creation was created. It is the primordial sound which exists everywhere in the planet. And this sound is a sound which is called the clap of one hand. This is the sound which is created by the source of life, which is the creator. And this sound is everywhere. It is within our bodies also. When we calm our mind totally, we can hear this sound. And then we are asking for peace, peace, peace. Every one of us on the planet today, if you ask everyone, what is the purpose of life? What are we looking for? They'll say, I want just peace of mind. Now, this peace is missing in the world today. That's why we are asking for peace again and again. And there are World Health Organizations, there are World United Nations. Everyone is asking for peace. There are peace organizations. Unfortunately, they are looking for peace outside, but the peace only exists within us. We have to just look within to find that peace. And once we know the peace inside, then we can spread that peace outside also. Now, there's an organization in America called the American Institute of Vedic Studies. They have the same motto, from darkness to light. Now, they are running a business in the sense offering some courses, but hopefully they can create at least one person who has the full illumination. And if one person can spread that light, many, many candles can be lit, many people can be enlightened. So our purpose is to create reflective facilitators, and those reflective facilitators can create reflective learners and create a new humanity of these learning students. So in authentic learning, there are three elements: the subject of learning, the process of learning, the outcome of learning. And this is true in our life also. When we get in life involved, we do any action and then we follow some process, then we see the result of that action. If the result is satisfactory, then it gives us the fulfillment of life. So our current system of education only provides a small amount of fulfillment, where 90% of the fulfillment of life is missing because of the way we are educated and the way we are educating the next generation. This gives a holistic view of life. And you see these four boxes. The two boxes on the left-hand side, there is a materialistic way of life, which is the gross energy. And then we have the inner awareness, which is a subtle energy. So, and then we have the man-made crisis. All these energies are interacting. And we see all societal ills, toxic human relationships. Then we may see the nature-made crisis, disharmonious living with nature. And this is also man is polluting the nature. Our ecology of the planet is totally disturbed. And only last week or so, there was some crisis in Texas in the United States. There was a total power failure. And then a lot of people also died. And then also there was a failure of the water system. So people had to go through a lot of hardship, and they are still recovering from that natural disaster created by the ignorance of the human mind because this disaster was predicted, it was coming, no precautions were taken, no things were done properly. And that is why so many people had to suffer. So basically, if you look at from the energy perspective, the whole planet is some combination of energies. We human beings are also vibrating energies. There are about 100 trillion cells. All these cells are vibrating. And then there are about 100 billion uh, cells in the mind or in the brain also, and they are also vibrating. So this is all these vibrations create our current reality. But as we looked at, the thoughts are the most important thing. If we have positive thoughts, then we create a positive reality. And if we have negative thoughts, then the neurons in the brain create a negative image and negative energy and gives us a negative perception of life. And these negative thoughts result in the disease in the body, which we call the psychosomatic disease. And so if we want to control or have a body which is healthy and clean, then we have to look at our thoughts and purify our thoughts. So this is an important quote. What is the purpose of education? Education is for improving our own lives and then the life of others. If we don't improve our own life, we cannot help to improve the lives of others. So as educators, first thing is we have to improve our own life. Then only we can improve the life of our students. And then we leave a better community which we inherited when we were sent here on this planet. This planet is like a big guest house, and we are coming, and then we are leaving this planet after a finite amount of time. So as we enjoy this guest house, the beauty of all the creation which is all around us, the lakes, the mountains, the hills, the rivers, and everything, and so that enjoyment we do here, then we create a better world. Leave this guest house as a neat and clean place for the next generation. So if we have that view of education, then we create a world which is more peaceful, and we enjoy that peace, and then we leave that peaceful world for the next generation. Thank you. So Swami Vivekanand, he made big contributions towards creating a education system where we bring out our inner perfection and share that perfection in the classroom. But that system got never implemented. And we have set up so many commissions, Kothari Commission, and before that there was a Radhakrishnan Commission, that we want to change our education system, but nothing has happened so far. And the same old step, the mechanical system, which was created for the industrial society, continues to be implemented most of the part of the world. So there are steps of reflective learning which can be implemented, and we are trying to implement these. There's only analysis. The logical mind is only working in the current education system. And the education coming from the heart, the synthesis part is totally missing. And this is true also of the advanced research which is being done in universities and other places. There's all analysis and also analytical thinking, and the synthesis is missing. The mind which connects with the source of life, the purpose of life, that kind of education is totally missing. There are reflective learning centers which can be set up, and they can have a curriculum to create reflective learners. I spoke about a couple of months back at the Rajasthan Central University. There was a workshop on training the educators. And I learned that there are 25 they are teaching learning centers in India. And they are set up by the central government. And their purpose is to train teachers. But the whole idea of creating good teachers was missing in what I looked at the name, teaching learning centers. I made a recommendation that please change the name from teaching learning centers to reflective learning centers. Because once we use the word reflecting, then all the ancient knowledge starts flowing into the system, and that can have a definitely impact, which is lasting impact on our education system. Now, the paradigm shift is already happening. As I said earlier, the education currently is only making a living, which means working in any job and then getting a paycheck. And then that's all the purpose of modern education is. We are giving certificates and diplomas which have lost relevance in the current environment because our environment has totally changed. So we are going through a paralysis, which is our education system currently totally paralyzed. We have to design a system where we can have fulfillment of life also. So there are two tracks. One is to make a living. The second track is how to live in this world or living a life. Eventually, merge into one, that if we have the awareness that our purpose of life is to have illumination, to get 90% light and very little darkness of life, then we have to be aware and we have to be reflective and we have to have that awareness all the time. So our fulfillment of life can enhance by incorporating this into our education system. So if we incorporate yoga into the system, yoga, not the physical exercises, but yoga means unity, is oneness of life, that everything is one, everything is vibrating as one. So this would take some time for the educators to understand and learn. But if we have the learning centers, the educators can be trained over a period of 6 months to 3 years, and the programs can be set up so that these reflective learners are ready to transform the education system. The purpose of reflective learning is to realize our full potential. As we are visitors on this planet, we have to fully enjoy our life and fully realize our potential, and to live the highest quality of life possible, to become a lifelong independent learner. Learning starts the day we are born, and learning continues till the day we are on this planet. So the purpose of our education is to create flexible, adaptable, trainable, dynamic, ready to adjust to changing business and life situations. So we have to produce students and reflective learners, those who can adjust, those who are dynamic, because the life is dynamic, life is not static. But our mind becomes static and then we suffer the consequences of that. So after we are doing all this, we can help others also in this learning process. So this time we are going through a pandemic all over the world, and this is a great time to learn about reflection, because we are locked in and we have plenty of time, so we can think about the broken humanity and what is going on, and we can share our blessings with the world, those who are fortunate to have a good life and have all the resources to go through this difficult time for many, many people. And this Zoom also has become possible only because of this pandemic. And we can reach so many people all over the world, in remote corners of the world, and we can spread the message of reflective learning. And we can train learners anywhere in the world, in villages or smaller towns also. So it makes the rapid transformation of education possible. So learning is a constant process of involvement with life. We learn when we get involved, and when we are not involved, and what is going on in the current today, there's a total restlessness among the youth of the society. They don't have a direction, because the education they are getting is not getting them any jobs which are relevant jobs, and there's no fulfillment of life. When this thing happens, then the society digresses and the youth of the society resorts to violence. So we see a lot of violence in Russia, in America, in other countries, that this is going on. And because people are not engaged with fruitful activities. And when there is no meaningful activity, then people look for other ways to get fulfillment, and that those other ways are very dangerous ways, which creates violence in the society. Now, again, as we look at what's going on during the pandemic, that our economic system all over the world are broken, that a lot of people are displaced, they don't have any meaningful jobs, every economy is almost shut down, but the top people are doing good. Economy will recovery will take several years. There was a economic breakdown. There was a global recession, depression in 1929, which continued for 10 years. But right now, our economies are all over the world are broken. And the rich countries, they are getting the vaccines and everything. But if they do not give vaccines to the poor countries, then that epidemic will come back to haunt us. That the humanity will say that everybody has to be recovered, everybody has to be given vaccine. Otherwise, the poor countries, the spread of the virus will be again come back to haunt us. So one has to look at this as a global humanity. So the pandemic is global. It is connecting all of us. It is a wake-up call that we are one humanity. If we, each one of us, decide to take care of ourselves, when we protect our families, our friends, and the society. If we neglect ourselves, then we endanger our own life and endanger the life of others. So this is again a global phenomenon. So just like education is a global phenomenon, this pandemic is the result of a natural event, and we create it as an enemy. This is not the enemy. This is a wake-up call for the humanity that our society is broken. So we have to look at other ways, compassionate education ways, to change our society. Now the current recovery model is the K model. K model is the arrow going up means the rich people are going rich. Top 10, 20, 30% of society, the pandemic doesn't impact at all. Whereas the poor people, they are becoming poorer every day. This gap between the rich poor is called the misery index. The misery index on the planet today is 95%. Our purpose of education is to convert this misery index from 95% to 95% prosperity index, where we can get the prosperity of all people. We can see the material prosperity, the emotional prosperity, and the spiritual prosperity. So combined together, there's prosperity index, and we have technology today. With that technology, we can measure the prosperity index of every community and every family. So that can happen with the new education system when the youth is empowered. We have artificial intelligence, which can eliminate total corruption from the society. It can measure corruption in each human being, especially in the leaders in the political system, and it can change our society totally. My granddaughter, she's a student of economics. So we have given her the challenge that how to create an economic system which is fair to the whole society. Right now we look at two economic systems, rich and the poor. And the gap is very dangerous gap which can destabilize the whole society. Because the poor people, when they don't have food to eat, they will perhaps become violent and create problems for the society. So you can see that education is the only potent tool we have to bring equality in humanity, to create respect and dignity. Now, in the Constitution of the United States, it says that all men are created equal by the creator of life. But unfortunately, we don't treat each other equal with equal respect and equal dignity because of the gap between the rich and the poor. And the rich are isolated from the poor and the poor are isolated. It's one humanity. We are all interconnected. We should need to work together. When we understand the wholeness of life and the oneness of life, we isolate ourselves. Rich people live in isolation, and then they do not know how to take care of the poor people, and then everybody suffers. So this respect we have to learn, And when we become reflective learners, then we respect everyone. We treat students as our equal. So how do we unlock this inner wisdom through the process of life? Again, we go back to scriptures. This comes from an ancient uh, Upanishad, the five body or five kosha human being. When the creation was created, it came out of infinite consciousness. So we are product of infinity. We are born out of infinity. The first body which was created is called the bliss body or the Anandamaya kosha. And this is the causal body which causes the other four bodies. The wisdom body, the Manomaya kosha is the mental body, and the Pranamaya kosha is the energy body. And then there's a physical body. So most of the humanity is only aware of the physical body, and there's very little idea about, yeah, there is an energy. We know that there's a body, the prana are running in our body, and we have some ideas about the mind. We are totally confused about the wisdom body, and we have no experience of the bliss body. So this is again the state of our consciousness. Now, all the problems created in the planet is because of the Manomaya kosha, or the mental body. It's the mind which creates all the problems in the society. If the mind have anger, it creates violence in the society. So if we want to solve the problems on the planet, then we have to go beyond the mental body, which is called the wisdom body. And wisdom body has the power of imagination, visualization, and conceptualization to cultivate reflective facilitators, and those will be the people, they will be instrumental in creating a new world order where there is more peace and prosperity. Again, the purpose of human life is to know thyself, and this is also, if you go to the ancient Greek culture, it is also written on one of the temples in Greece that know thyself is the purpose of life. And when we start looking into this field of investigation, we'll find out that we are not the body or we are not the mind. We are pure consciousness, and we are here to realize our full potential and realize that we are, again, the pure beings, the true beings. So for self-reflection, we don't have to go to any gurus or attend any of these spiritual training programs. This is a practice we can do ourselves every day in the evening, that we went through the whole day, and in a day, there are situations which are more stressful than others. So we just pick up one situation and then reflect on that situation. We bring all the characters in that episode. That episode may be 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. And then we see our own role. What did we say and how did we say? And what was the outcome of that episode? And then we reflect on that. We ask ourselves questions. If I would have used some better words, if I would have taken a different action, if I was more reflective, what could have been the outcome of that episode? Now, this is called the self-introspection, and this is called self-reflection. If we do that every day for 5 to 10 minutes, it can totally change our life, and it can make us reflective learners. And this is a process of daily improvement. And once we do it for 40 days, as I said, we offer our gratitude, and we see that during the process in that episode, did we use our gratitude or did we use our attitude? So if we reflect on and keep improving every day, then we will eventually become reflective learners. So the elements of learning are, there's knowledge, there's vision, and there's courage, and there's action. So knowledge we can gain from books and from these seminars, and we can get pure knowledge. If you go to gurus, you don't get pure knowledge, because once a guru makes it a business, then forget about the pure knowledge. So they'll give you only in small installments, and that knowledge may not be very valuable. We all need to have a vision. Every educator have to have a vision. Whatever subject they are teaching? What is the purpose of their education? And do we have the courage to take action? Because without courage, we cannot move forward to become a reflective learner. And action is also the most important thing. The courage of conviction should be there. There's a better life beyond what we are living today. With 10% awareness, we can move to 20, 30, 40, 50% awareness. We can illuminate our life. We can illuminate the life of our students. And that courage of conviction has to be there. And we can say, yes, I can do it. I want to do it. I will do it. Once we have that conviction, then we will move forward by taking action. That action is just doing the reflective practice for 10 minutes every day. There is no other action. Wherever we are, we can do it sitting there. And then we have to establish the trust between the teachers, the students, and the educators. And the trust comes when an educator is competent, educator is confident that they have no fear, that they can deal with any question from the students. They connect with the students. And then the fear in the student, if it is zero fear, then trust is infinity. So we have to bring the fear very low in the students only by making a connection, because our connection with students is missing, and that causes a lot of problem. So if you look at this picture, there we are all caring facilitators as we exist today. And then we create motivated learners. We motivate students, and once they are motivated, then we reflect together. We bring ourselves to the level of students. That's why we don't like to use the word teacher or a guru, because that gives a connotation that somebody has a power on somebody else. So we become just like friends, as just guides or caretakers or caring facilitators. And once we start working one-on-one in any communication, in any classroom, when there are 20, 30, 40, 50 students, we must spend time one-on-one, 5 minutes, 10 minutes with each student before the session starts, before the new classes start, so that we get to know the students at a personal level and also know their aspirations. And then once we know our students in the classroom, we can bring reflection into the classroom by bringing students together and doing reflective exercises within the classroom. We have 40, 50 minutes for each session in a classroom. Half of the time should be spent on bookish knowledge. Half of the time should be spent, how do we live in this world, how to relate each other, how to take care of each other, how to connect with each other, how to reflect together. So that can change the whole education system just by incorporating these simple things. So one of the educators, just like all of us on this seminar, that this is his idea, and this is what we discussed in the previous slide, that we have to bring ourselves to the level of students. The genius in the students, we should always respect them. They are smarter than the educators, because they are more dynamic, they are young, they are pure in energy, they have not been contaminated by the society. So we should bring dignity and respect, and we do that as we looked at the first slide, that we should add this practice of offering gratitude. Energy thought is a very positive thought, and this thought can change our life. When we practice gratitude, and with that gratitude, we go into the classroom, we treat students as equal to us, not even lower. Maybe the students should be put on a higher pedestal. We should make ourselves as the servant educators, that we are creating the next generation of humanity. So we should consider this as our privilege, that we have the privilege to communicate with them, and we become the transmitters of knowledge. We become the transporter of knowledge, and we are no gurus or teachers. And this learning relationship, if once we establish this relationship, this is the reflective relationship, And this can totally change our society. We don't have to make many changes. We have to just go through very simple exercises and start the reflective learning centers and train people in these reflective learning centers. And once we do this process, then it will multiply, it will take over, and it is like contagious, it will spread very fast. Again, it's the same thing that we should know how to listen to students, how to connect with them, how to watch and observe, and how to feel our own emotions when we have a positive experience. After the session is over, the class is over, what degree of feeling satisfaction do we have? How do we feel? The pleasant in itself will again reinforce that our next session will be more reflective than the current session. So there are several reflective practices which can be used. The mindfulness is very, I think, something which everyone is trying to use. There's mindfulness practice in the United States with the young students, the early education students, and the teachers are telling students to be mindful. It should be the other way around. The students, the young children are mindful by their own nature. The teachers are not mindful. So that's why it doesn't work, because the educators are making noise to silence the students, but they are not silent in their own mind. Their mind are also not in their control. They are disturbed minds. And there are several other practices which can be done in the schools and colleges. And the practice of oneness is also very important, that everything is connected. We are all working together. 7.8 billion people. This is one seed of humanity. This is one tree of humanity. And we are all vibrating together. But that awareness has to come when go through the reflective learning centers. We can practice these things over a period of time and become one with the humanity. So some very simple practices which can be introduced even now as we are speaking: being non-judgmental, being non-critical, being non-holding of any grudge, practicing let go, offering gratitude. So as I said, that if we offer gratitude to the creator of life and to everybody around us, like today's session, we can offer gratitude to the Holistic Research Center and also offer gratitude to Dada Bhagwan, who has made all this possible. So offering gratitude is a very high energy, positive thought. It will make us reflective learners. Practicing let go. If somebody tries to use foul language, abuses us, we have to block that energy and we have to let it go. We don't have to bring it in our mind, and we don't have to disturb our mind. So we don't have to hold grudge about anybody. This is happening in families today, brothers, sisters, cousins. They hold a grudge. Once we hold a grudge, we can never become reflective learner. And being non-critical, we should not be criticizing others. The only person we can criticize is ourselves. And once we criticize ourselves, we can improve on that. We have no business to judge others, because when we judge others, we are spending a lot of mental energy. Once we are wasting that mental energy, it will lower our energy and it will bring disease in our body. So we should stop that practice also. And then this is a mindfulness. We skip this and perhaps people have these slides and they can go over that. And if they have questions, they can ask. So basically then we are looking for a compassionate education system. We start slow. We start with 10% of, again, awareness to go to 15, 20, 30, 40, 50%. What you see on the top, the red triangle, that we're looking for about 100, 200 international leaders. They are total reflective learners, those who have achieved more than 90% of the awareness of life. And they are the people, they are going to bring change in all over education in the world. So with that view, once we start this journey, the journey will continue and we can start it now. At this time, there's no time to wait, because the more we wait, there'll be more violence in the society and more dissatisfied people on the planet. So educators can reflect within in the classroom. They can create small reflecting groups in the students. The reflection is done before the class when the lesson is prepared. The reflection is done during the class, and the reflection is done after the class. And once we set up this reflective practice, then we instill the love for learning in the students. We don't have to then go and teach them again and again. Then they learn by their own effort, because the learning is a natural process. The learning channels have been provided by nature in each one of us, and we can use those learning channels to educate us. And this is called from cradle to grave learning, because learning happens, as I said, every day. If we reflect for 10 minutes, we are learning from each and every episode of life, because we are trying to improve and do things which are positive, and also helping ourselves and helping others. So during this reflecting period, the speaker, along with a few friends, we reflected on a lot of these issues, and this body of knowledge has been created so that the planners of education, the people, the leaders, those who are running the current system, they can go through several reflective practice, and also we can create a vibrant, compassionate society. And all the steps, the curriculum which are discussed in the books should be adopted by the reflective learning centers. And people, those who are at this seminar today, some of them can become just the members of that. They can even come to the Holistic Research Center in Surat and start this process, and can start reflecting and bring their questions and all the issues, and perhaps can have, if the process starts, can have a Zoom dialogue on a regular basis. And this we can start from day one, from tomorrow itself. There's no time to wait, because the more we wait, the more we delay the well-being of our own self and the society. So at this time, I think we'll start taking the questions. Chandrakant, please take the questions from the audience, and then I'll try to respond.
Yeah. So this is question time. You can unmute yourself and share your query with Dr. Saab. Mr. Satyendra Gadpaile.
Sir, just I wanted to know what is that functioning of these vibrations, and how do they may purify the human being, and how do they give a kind of revitalizing energy and motivational energy.
Yeah, there is a universal law of vibrations. This is a law of nature, that everything vibrates. Nothing is stationary. The cells in our body are vibrating, the planets are vibrating, and everything is vibrating constantly in a state of vibration. And there are laws of vibrations. Within our body, the cells are vibrating, and the neurons in the brain are vibrating. All these things are controlled by our thoughts. The thought energy is the most powerful energy on the planet. The whole creation, what we have, the man-made creation, has been created by the human thought. Now, the disease in the body happens because of negative thoughts. And if we change our negative thoughts to positive thoughts, then the disease totally disappears. The scientists, the cell biologists, the gene biology scientists, they have proved that there's the epigenetics. Epigenetics is a science which says that our mind can be changed by changing our thoughts. If we have positive thoughts, which is a natural thought, which is the thought of love and compassion given to us by nature, if we use that, our body can be 100% healed by the positive thoughts. And the neurons in the brain, they also they listen to our thoughts. There are thought frequencies. Every thought has a specific frequency. Anger has a different frequency. Love has a different frequency. And when these thoughts are processed in the brain, the negative thoughts consume all the energy, and they impact our immune system, and they generate disease in the body. When we have positive thoughts, then all the healing can take place. the total disease can disappear from the body. So we are the creator of our own health. We are the creator of our own destiny. And when we practice positive thoughts, see that when the thought happens, it becomes an emotion. And then emotion becomes a feeling. It becomes a sensation. It becomes a habit. We repeat the habit. It becomes our personality. And it then becomes our destiny. So the thought is the source. So in Buddha also said that the thought of desire is the thought which is bringing us down. One person went to the saint and said, I want peace. The saint said, you have peace within yourself. But he insisted, no, please explain to me. He said, I is your ego, and I want is your desire. If you get rid of your ego and your desire, whatever left is peace. So we are confused about our ego and about our desires, and that's why we don't have peace of mind. I don't know, it was a long answer, but I don't know, was it satisfactory, or I can go on.
Surely, sir. Surely, sir, it is really very much enlightening answer. And I came to know that how the whole this vibration system works as such. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a universal law of vibrations.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Next one.
Namaskar, sir. Chandrakant, sir, I would like to ask a question.
Yes, sir is there listening.
Yeah. Kohli, sir. Sir, during this session, you have been talking about that reflection, and also you told the most important and vibrating thing is that our thoughts, thinking energy. So in that, sir, it means the introspection and meditation also we can see, like when we start thinking about ourselves, our thought process. So really, with meeting also the great people and mentors, they try to look into ourselves so that we can meditate and we can improve our habit and our daily life routine. So please tell, sir, like how can one improve it by reflecting?
So I think in one of the slides I discussed 5 to 10 minutes practice every day at the end of the day, because we go through the whole day and we don't look back and we never see, and the life goes on and on and on. So we stop for 10 minutes and we spend that 10 minutes every day. And then we are doing a daily reflective practice. That 10-minute practice is, first we say that we take a few deep breaths, and every meditation practice you'll say that breathing is the first part, because breath is the link between body and the mind. The mind is very hard to control. The thoughts are constantly going on and on. But the breathing is within our control. So when we do some breathing exercises, the thought travels on the breath and then goes into the brain. So if we just slow down our breathing, and if we can manage our breathing, then the thoughts can also be managed. And then active practice, we ask ourselves the questions that, how did our mind behave in a particular episode? And then we ask the second question, what best I could have done better than what I did in this situation to create a better outcome, create a pleasant outcome. So this is a self-introspection, and this can be done every day. And the things which we do every day, we sustain those things. If we just stop it and say, just we do it, we go to a class and learn something, and after a while we stop it, it doesn't never work, because we are doing at the mental level. We have to go into the inner side, which is the heart of whole thing, where the consciousness lives. The awareness of life is within the heart of, which is a seat of learning, which is a seat of consciousness. So we have to go beyond the mind. And once we calm the mind, then the wisdom body wakes up. And the wisdom body has the solution to the suffering humanity. Otherwise, the mind has created the problem. Same mind cannot solve these problems. So we have to go beyond the mind.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
sir. And one, sir, one more question I want to ask.
Sure.
After 34 years, like this time, Indian government, central government, and national education policy they are bringing. Actually, they want to then apply for that experiential learning, competency-based learning. You might be knowing, sir. So that this rote learning, which had been going on, so like they can replace it, because till now, so like industrial learning, okay, this education system is preparing the students, the generations, for like okay, for working in that industries and only for that earning their livelihood. But education actually, as the Shastras also says, ke Savidyaya Vimuktaye. So for the salvation, so the government is going in that way, sir. So what do you say, sir, about this NEP that government has brought this time?
Uh, I have looked at this problem, and there's a total lack of leadership in the central government and everywhere. I wrote a letter to the Prime Minister of India. I sent him a copy of the book which he published, Leaders Transform Education. I wrote a letter to the Education Minister and also sent him the copy of the book. It was delivered to the offices by one of my friends in Delhi. But the problem again is the leadership. There, the current leadership is, they are just surviving. They are just managing the day-to-day affairs. There's no vision. Unless we have a vision, we cannot move forward. So the vision statement has to be established, and there should be 3 or 4 leaders in the education ministry. Their full-time job should be to transform education and set up these reflective learning centers all over India. They have set up teaching learning centers, and those teaching learning centers to me doesn't make any sense, because it's the repetition of the same thing using the same mind, and the mind has created this education system. The same mind cannot solve these problems. That is why we say that we have to go beyond the mind. We have to wake up the wisdom body which is within us. But the educators have to be educated first. The leaders have to go through this reflective practice. That is why we need to start this, and we should continue this practice. And this is all doable, and all the 3 books which we have written over a period of 2 years or so, and they contain all the contents which can be used as the starting point. And then once you start the reflection, then it keeps growing. It's like it creates a ripple effect in the society. That process cannot be started by current leaders because they do not understand the of education.
Thank you very much. I too have one query. Just out of curiosity, you have spent many years with learned people of America. So how do these learned men, educationists, look upon to India? What is their viewpoint towards India?
I think a lot of people have hope from India that the spiritual knowledge, because India is the center of spirituality. India is the world capital of spirituality. And all the things which we are discussing here, the spiritual part of that is missing in the education. So once we bring the elements of spirituality, which is self-introspection, which is self-reflection, then it can change the whole education system. So that part is the only missing part. So it's the most important part, because with spirituality, we connect with the source of life, and then the life energy starts flowing, and then the improvements can happen.
Definitely. Thank you very much, sir. I think Bhagwan Singh Ji Waghela.
Yes, sir. Sir, we have learned a lot of things in education system from this, sir. So really, it's a very nice seminar for me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Most welcome.
So we are almost at the end of the program. And again, I offer my gratitude to everybody, those who have worked so hard. And you have my email address. You can send questions to the organizers or to me, and those can be resolved. But the Holistic Service Science Research Center is a reflective center, and some of the people can connect there can make a group and start the reflective practice. If you need any direction, any guidance, we can do Zoom consultation, and we can help to move the process forward.
Thanks a lot, sir. And let me call upon Honorable Trustee Sri Lalabhai Patel, sir, to propose vote of thanks.
Respected Dr. Kohli sir and all participants and our affiliates attending this program. I am very much thankful on behalf of HSRC team for the initiative Dr. Kohli you have taken. You are one of our associates and a resource person for us. We had a lot of discussion during your visit to HSRC in 2018. 2 seminars we held, and many of these people were also there. And you have talked so many to so many leaders in this program. Let me tell you, representatives from Mercy Spiritual University, Goa are attending, Mr. Clark and Milky Agrawal. Also, Mr. The director from Rajkot University is also attending. He is also one of our associates. And our HSRC associates. For your information, I would like to add, sir, the last year we started one program for facilitators. So we have trained about 7 facilitators through 140 hours program. Some of them were on online and somewhere in the physical classes. It was spread over 12 months and it has become a good success. Definitely, Dr. Nilesh Kalani, he also visited HSRC for one program. So, sir, you have talked to the right people today, and this is a good beginning. And let me assure you, this center can also develop as per your vision in creating facilitators, reflective facilitators. So thank you very much, sir. And thank you all participants for sparing your Sunday morning for this learning program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. So
Okay.
Goodbye to everyone.
Okay. We'll be in touch and look forward to more of these similar programs.
We have another webinar today after 15 minutes on Solah Sanskar, Sanatan Dharma. This is just for your information. Many of you have also are joining for that program. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Suresh Bhai, and everyone. Yes.
Thank you.